Good morning. It is Sunday morning. It is 10:30 a.m. Almost on time this morning. Pretty good. And that means it's time for Sunday Club, where every week we are looking at some Ruby on Rails live streaming, and we're kind of building an app together as we go along. And it is an app that kind of builds little mini websites or pulls through the content from your Twitch or YouTube streams. So some people are saying good morning. Justin is saying good morning in the YouTube chat. Morning, Justin. I am doing you a disservice once again because I tried to put the chat on this screen. So it should be, your comment should be showing up. Okay, so I think, okay, so I should now be able to, you should now be able to see your comment on the screen. So I was working so hard. I'm so bad with this streaming stuff. Which brings me very neatly, how bad I am with the streaming stuff brings me very neatly onto follow-up and news and stuff before we dive into the coding of what we're going to do this week. So a couple of things. I'll do the first thing first. I am giving a talk about this channel at London Ruby Users Group in March. So if you're interested in how I ended up doing this and some of the stuff involved in speaking to you every Sunday or later on if you're watching this on YouTube, some people seemed interested. And obviously it's London Ruby Users Group, but obviously no one is physically going to meetups or stuff at the moment. So as I understand, there would be no reason for people not from London, if you are interested in that, not to join. The London Ruby Users Group is lrug, LRUG.org. And I'm sure everyone who wanted to attend would be welcome. I'm not aware of any restrictions just because it's the London one. So come along to that. If you're interested in the watching Streamlabs break every week or me having to pick up new microphones and the stuff, the mechanics of doing a stream like this. That's feedback number one. Feedback number two, well, not feedback, but like update number two is I have finally pushed the work in progress branch that I never get around to rebasing on these episodes up to GitHub. So it is not a pull request. So if you're unfamiliar with GitHub, it will be in the branches section. I'll show you, I've got it on my browser. We'll show you it later. But for those who are watching the earlier streams, what I then tend to do is go back and do a giant rebase as I go through. It's getting harder and harder as I do more of these and keep not finding the time to do them. But if you're interested in anything that we've looked at and want to see the code that ended up getting committed, you can look at the work in progress branch. Super rough. It is work in progress. Don't let your branches get this messy in your day-to-day life, or it will cause you headaches, as I am going to have to go back and rebase that giant one. Anything that is in the pull request section of the Sunday Club repo has usually been tidied up a little bit. I mean, I've actually written the commit messages, and I sometimes try and link to the relevant stream. So anyone who is interested in those, that'll be useful. And the third bit of feedback is that's relevant for is that the codementor.io dev project stuff is still ongoing. I haven't shipped it to them, but that is still happening. So hopefully people who are interested in this, building a little mini app like this, will be able to kind of now look at those commits and then the pull requests as they go in. And if they want to, feel free to add any stuff to that repo they want. There's also that discussions tab, which we looked at previously. All right, that's loads of follow-up. So what we want to look at this week, I want to move on from the stuff we were looking at last week, was kind of like the background job and how we make that task more resilient about populating the background job to go and import all of the videos from the YouTube API, the YouTube gem that we had. So we did all of that and we discussed a whole bunch of stuff around it. Not much code went in because we did, as usual with me, more talking than coding. But that's why I wanted to get the work in progress branch up in case people did want to look at that code, because we discussed the service object, we wrapped it in a service object, we had the service object returning a service response object. So I know people often kind of want to talk about those things. So I put that in that work in progress branch. So we didn't go actually through and look at all of the different types of resiliency we talked about, but we talked about them enough that I think you could go and investigate them or open a discussion on the discussions tab in the repo if you're watching this incredibly frustrated. What I do want to move on to is what I think, I was thinking about it during the week, and I was looking to accomplish two things, which is move on to the next stage of that synchronization and also this is for selfish reasons and less so for the learner's perspective that we normally try and look at through things, is I want to play with all the new Hotwire stuff that's come out for Rails. So I was trying to look for something that would let us accomplish both those tasks. So what I was thinking we were doing is plan out how we would synchronize those videos on an ongoing basis, and I'll explain more about that in a moment. And then what I mean by synchronize that is that you're going to have changes in YouTube to the video, because so someone might change the description on YouTube, but they might also want to edit the description on the website, like in the Sunday Club app version of the video. So we might import a description that's like one line and it's not enough for the website, but it's perfectly fine for YouTube, or it's an unlisted video and they don't care about that. So we want to give them an editing experience that lets them edit stuff on the imported version, but then how do we maybe synchronize changes with the YouTube version? And what I thought that would help us cover is webhooks, and the concept of webhooks would kind of get into that, which is pretty common if you're doing Rails stuff. Versioning, we might get touched on. I haven't really thought this through any further in terms of like what we save, and then maybe we can get to the editing experience and do that in Hotwire. So that's where I kind of want to go to with this. So that's enough talking for this morning. Let's jump over and take a look. Okay, so this is the repo. So if I go back to here, if you're looking at this, this is this feedback about the current work in progress branch. You won't have this yellow banner. This is just because I have pushed this recently, but you'll see here 3 branches should be visible to you. And so when you click on the 3 branches, you'll see what they are. That's one I'm probably supposed to have made a pull request from, not really sure. And then you'll see the current work in progress. Again, that probably, if I was more diligent, that probably shouldn't be there. And after each episode, I would wrap it up and make a pull request. But we don't live in that world. So click through and then it will jump you to the end of that branch. And then you'll be able to click here to see the actual commits in that branch, if that's what you're interested in. So what you can see on screen here will not be a static view. If I do manage to go back and rebase, anything beginning with WIP is in this branch. And as I do go back and rebase them, obviously they'll disappear from the bottom. And then far more likely is we'll add more things to the top. So remember that when you look at a branch on GitHub, it's like a real-time view of what's been pushed. And so that is, that's that. And then what I thought we could do for looking at this YouTube syncing thing is go back to using the Jamboard, which I found really useful before and gives us a visualization that we can keep kind of referring to. What it does mean is I'm going to have to look down a lot, and we're going to do this together. So I've got this iPad app, which should let me draw on the screen. I'm just going to move my keyboard, so bear with me just a second. Okay, so hopefully let's test this out. If I draw on here, we should see it on the screen. Great. Okay, so let's just zoom in a little bit. Great. Okay, so we should be able to erase that too. Magic. This is super useful, by the way. I've used this on a couple of video calls and stuff at work. Like, if you have, I have one of these stupid Apple Pencil things, which I had to sell a kidney to be able to afford this. Being able to draw with a pen and have it appear in real time on a group call. I know they have like stuff where you can draw with your mouse and stuff, but having a pen is really good. And if multiple people have it, it's super useful. So what are we planning out here? We want to talk about having things in our app that are also represented in a third-party service. And we're going to talk about YouTube videos because that's the app that we're building. But there are elements of this that if you're building an app, a lot of the principles that we're going to be talking about here are things that you're going to bump into. So like having a starting place to think about them is probably useful. I'm already using your tutorial to build my own app. Oh, hey, just I'm so excited about that. Hopefully this isn't quite a tutorial. Hopefully it's just giving you some ways to think about things. I know that other people do proper tutorials. Like I'm sure you're looking at like Go Rails and Drifting Ruby and Rails Custom, all those fancy things. But I super appreciate it. I hope these are useful for you. So this concept of having something represented in your own app that is also represented in a third-party service. And how much we care as the application as to how synchronized they are and what that means. So if you were taking something like a financial transaction, so Stripe is such a common one you bump into, or PayPal or a payment processor is really common. You really need those to be pretty in sync. If you've made a payment intent for someone to pay for something during a checkout, and then Stripe sends you a webhook, for example, that says, "Hey, we've taken this money. You need that payment to be updated." Like and you need to show that to the user. Like that's a real important thing. And in this example that we're talking about videos, it's like, oh, well, okay, well, let's say we import a video from YouTube and we import a description, and then someone changes that description in YouTube. We as the app developer get to decide whether we care or not, and how and whether we react to the third-party app telling us. So let's draw, let's kind of divide this up a little bit. So let's give ourselves a dotted line, and let's give ourselves different color. So let's say that this is our app. Man, I've forgotten how small this is. Okay, so this is our app, and then this is YouTube. Is that showing up on the screen? Okay, so let's try and zoom in a bit more. Can you set a custom value? Zoom out. Zoom out again. Okay. This will kind of get us there. Okay, that's a bit better. So I think what we're always we want that initial version, which is like, where do we create the thing that we care about that we're synchronizing? So in a payment example, for example, you might start the payment on your checkout and then send that to the third-party service, and then have the third-party service do something to it and send it back. In our instance, we're not going to generate a YouTube video from our end just for this purpose. I think the YouTube API lets you do that. You can send videos and streams and stuff up, but we're not going to do that. We're only going to listen for the YouTube video. So we're going to have this resource. Just picking random colors here. We're going to have this resource here, and we will just represent that as a blob for now. And that's our video. So when we create, let's just call, I'll just call it vid. Okay, great. So that's our video. So we then have over here on our site, on our app, sorry, we then have our site, and we are going to import that video. So let's draw a couple of this side for us. Is this yellow readable on the stream? I've picked a shitty color pen. It's very quiet when you look down. So yeah, sorry. Let me try and move my mic a little bit. So when we look down here, okay. So let's say if we have a site, okay, and then we have, we have a channel in the middle, but all we really care about is we then synchronize it so that this video gets imported. So we'll have, let's call this video 1. Okay, I'm not even sure if this is readable, but I'm going to put the link in the Jamboard to the video, so we'll figure it out. So this is video 1 here. And this happens via our import process. So this goes to here. So that happens via our import process. So we now have that video represented. Now, what we want to do is, if video gets edited, and we're going to say that's going to become video 1A. I know I should have put the letter at the start of the first one, but I'm doing this in real time, so bear with me. So that is then video 1A. So video 1. So this one, video 1 might have no description, for example, and then they add the description and it becomes video 1A. What do we do at that point? So we only, on our side, we have video 1 here, and we have a bunch of options. In the meantime, what could have happened is we have someone over here has come and updated the video. So that could become video 1. Let's call this one. Yeah, I really should have named these differently on either side. well, let's call that one B because it's a different set of changes. I've done this very poorly. I might redo that one later, but we'll figure that out. But what's happened here is someone, again, has changed the description, but they've changed it on this side. So other examples, so we talked about payment, but a common one, well, I don't know how common it is, but things like importing content into a content management system, where you maybe have like a headless CMS and you're importing it to do something with it on an app. It might be local changes to an app versus like when you go offline or something like that. Like I'm coming up with all these contrived scenarios, as is the one we're working on. But essentially, that's all we really care about is why we would bump into these. So all of the decisions are in our court. So what we could do is when we get told that this change has happened, that video 1A has been, or video 1 has been updated into video 1A, we could overwrite all of our changes from B. Like we could get rid of that altogether, and we could say, right, well, we're just going to completely overwrite everything and pull all of these changes over and make those our changes. We could try and merge them. So that could go really badly. Again, it depends on the content that you're bringing. You could try and do a merge at that process. What I think we might want to do, and I think is an interesting concept to do, is store them against our video, but not use them. And here's what I mean by that. So let's say that video 1 gets changed on our side, but has also been changed on YouTube. I think what we want to do is bring over, sorry, I'm trying to change color this thing. So I think what we want to do is bring over our changes and update video 1B with our changes, but have the changes on our side always show and give the user the option to fall back to the latest YouTube changes. So there would basically be a versioning happening. I have drawn this incredibly poorly, for which I apologize. But let's say you had multiple changes on the YouTube side. We would then have multiple changes here, but we actually only ever show the one that the user chooses. So it's either the one that they have updated in the app, or they can revert back to any of the ones on the YouTube that have come through from YouTube. Or maybe every change from anywhere gets added as a version, and they can jump back to that version at any given time. The user experience is kind of up to us how we implement it. So every change on the third-party service becomes a stored version on our side, but they never overwrite the kind of app version of the field, so the description or title or whatever else. And so that then gives us the ability to show the user multiple versions and say, hey, which one do you want? And maybe we store versions for all of our edits as well on the app side. So if the user updates their description for a video, they can go back to one they had a week before, 2 weeks before, and we'll take a look at what that looks like. Now, the other thing that's interesting about this from our perspective is the mechanism by which we get told about these changes. So what do I mean by that? When we go and get them, when we go and do our initial sync, we have to pull from YouTube. We go and we get our API key, we go and ask YouTube for those videos, and then we bring them back and we store them. Now, we can do that on a regular basis. So I think I'm done drawing because that was horrific. So I'm just going to move this mic back. So that that process happens in our background job when we create our site. We could, if we wanted to, have a regular job that just went to see if any changes had been made to that video. So we could look at a timestamp, for example, the last time that it was changed. We could do whatever mechanism we want. So what changed? So that's like polling or long polling. You're basically going to check with the service, has this thing changed or has something happened? The other option, or an other option, is the service telling us when something has changed, and they will send us a message, and that is often in the form of something like a webhook. And what that requires is for us to set up something in our app that listens for those changes or receives those changes, and then the third-party service can ping our app or send it a message or send it a webhook, and then we receive those and then we react accordingly. And that's really common. So like I said, like Stripe webhooks, pretty common, payment services, lots of third-party services. I have Googled, and I think YouTube has one, but I spent 2 minutes Googling it. And you basically subscribe to the broadcasts of the changes that they send and then listen for them. And that's kind of one of the first aspects of the app where we will be just taking in data, but it won't be from users through the app, and nor will it be us going to retrieve the data. So there's a bunch of stuff around like security, chronology, like the order in which they're received, and it's a distributed system, so things could be down. So maybe the third-party service wants to tell us about a change in a video, but our app is down, or maybe they send us the change and then they go down and then they accidentally send us the same change again. We need to handle that kind of case. So that's about handling the information back from the third-party service. So all of that complexity is captured in this example. And I think it's kind of a good place, because what I want to do on the getting into the Hotwire side of things and where I'm interested is in this editing experience on the app side. So I think that could be interesting in terms of how we make our changes on the app side. So the order that I think we're going to tackle this in is, let's go now that we've got our synchronizer pulling videos in from YouTube, I think what we can do is, once we pull them all in, let's build our edit experience. And then we will go and build a webhook listener to get the YouTube edits in, and then we will look at how we can provide an experience for the user where they can pick between those versions. So build an edit experience on the app side. Maybe we look at how we're storing versions then while we're building that, because normally you would simply overwrite your previous changes. What does it look like to not do that? Then we'll look at our webhooks coming in from YouTube. If we update them on the YouTube side, how do we store those with that versioning system? And then finally, how do we let the user choose between all of those versions, and kind of create a master video on the app side? I think I might try and redraw that at some point. Maybe next week we'll just start again with now that I know roughly what we're trying to tackle. The first one never works out as you expect it to. All right, so as long as all that kind of makes some sense, let me post this link here. I think I have to change this to, I think it can be anyone with the link can view. Great. So then I can post this here in I'll post it in the YouTube channel, and I'll put it in the video description afterwards. So that's the Jamboard. Cool. Great. Okay, so that is all showing. Great, that's showed up. Cool, let's go and do some code. Yep, so that's our browser there. Right, let me get my keyboard back. Put all this over here. Sorry, it's just a slightly limited space in front of me, so that. Okay, so our Git environment is all up to date, and we have discussed in the past, we had this notion of a control panel area where people could edit things. And so what that was looking at was, how do we give people of different roles the ability to edit things? And we actually gave them a different namespaced area. Because I want to take a look at that Hotwire stuff, again, probably not learner based, but just out of pure interest. And that actually happens, that provides a lot of real-time kind of in the browser updates. I think what we might do is, how are we going to provide the editing experience? So I've been reading a little bit about this kind of like the Stimulus and the Hotwire stuff with it's kind of like the fanciness that it provides. And I think the overriding thing that I saw was like build it as you normally would, and then use Stimulus and Turbo and all of this stuff to basically make what you would already do liver, like more reactive in the browser rather than trying to design for it. So let's see what that looks like. So we had our site show view that we added last week. So we had a site appear. We completed the site during our site setup, and we made a view that looped over our videos and showed them. Now, what we could do is put an edit button in there. Although we could just do all this in a control panel. Like, we don't have to give the same experience. Like, what did we put in the control panel? Did we do anything? We put a channel in there. Okay, so this goes back to that. What user experience do you want to give people when they're using your app? So is there does everything get edited in line? Is there somewhere where there's like, let's say for a channel or for a video, you're looking at the video, but you only see half of the options when you click edit. So when you click edit, are you doing that next to every individual field? Do you click edit and get taken to the edit view where there are like 10 times more options than you see for the content on that view? So these are all things that are in your control, and we can decide where to do them. So I think what we could do is we could still leave all of this in the control panel, but just make it live within there. Like, you could still have a different view, because I mean, that is what YouTube does for the most part, because you don't, there is a link to edit your videos from the front end, but also there is YouTube Studio. So you basically have an area where you can go back and change loads of different options. I can't remember if when you're in, I'm just going to do this in the other browser just so I can see what happens. So if I'm looking at a YouTube channel, sorry, this is just on the other browser because I'm not sure quite what shows up in there. So if I go to look at my channel, and then I go to look at a video, a previous video, and then I click edit. Oh, it takes me out to Studio. Okay, so I am taken all the way out. So that is effectively, for us, that would be control panel. Okay, so let's do the same thing. Let's leave our editing experience in control panel and have the show view for the site and the channel and the video just be that front-facing one. And then we have to send the user to another part of the app to do the editing. And that gives you kind of like it's good and bad. It gives you like you can create a whole different experience around control panel, and all your auth stuff and everything is in there. But also you're separating it out. So when you make a change, you then have to go back to see the change happen. Whereas some edited views really, they want to happen in real time. So we're going to do all of ours in here. So we have to refresh our memory about what this is doing. So we only have control panel channels. And it looks like all we did was suspend them. So I think that was our example of some functionality. We don't do anything with that suspend, I don't think. We just wanted to add an example of some functionality that would exist for admins. So I think what we could do is we could show all the videos for that channel on this view, and then provide an edit view for the video, but also edit them in line. And then that would get us our editing experience, and maybe this is where we could pick between versions and stuff as well. So let's see what this does. Let's actually start the app up and see if this actually still works. So we want to take a look at our routes as well. When my server comes up. Okay. Going to snap on this stream one day and finally just add the little thing to make that automatically detect the Ruby version. Okay. maybe that will be the one consistent thing from this stream, is that I will never add that file and it will never detect the Ruby version. Okay, so we've got a server up and running. Oh, is Postgres not up? Just not bother with that right now. Okay. I have had this issue happen before, where I had to go and erase this. Because my laptop crashed when it was closed the other day. So obviously Postgres freaked out. Okay, so bear with me just a moment. I'm just going to find this file and delete it. Just going to look for where it is. Okay, so this is where you just take it on total faith that some rando on the internet tells you to delete a config file and you feel totally great about it. I'm just going to move my terminal over onto the other screen just in case anything crazy pops up that's unique to my machine or anything like that. So bear with me just a moment. Yeah, this is just live debugging just to get us up and running and working. So apologies for cool. So S, and we should have. Oh, I do remember doing this. That it wasn't where I looked in a previous one. So post master PID. Okay, we're just going to remove postmaster.pid. Okay. Great. Okay, cool. So that's now running. We can close that and bring this one back and have the server start up. Sorry about that minor diversion. Yeah, it happens when my Mac crashes when it's closed. I don't know what some random thing is trying to do, probably those fancy Mac OS features. So cool. So we have control panel here and we have control panel channels, and then we could suspend it. Okay, so we had the create action for a suspension, which like I said doesn't do anything. And so we added auth, didn't we, around that? So do I have to be logged in as a certain person? Okay, so yep. I have to belong to the organization that the site belongs to, but I think that happens automatically during creation. So if I go here, am I logged in? Oops, I'm trying to spell users. Users sign in. Sign up. Okay. Oh, is this where we always have that thing where it kicks me out because I'm not? Yep, allow unconfirmed access for. I'm just going to swap that out really quickly. You can go back to previous streams. So basically, devise. We turned on the confirmation feature, and it automatically kicks you out immediately because you can't do anything because you're not confirmed. So I'm just going to restart that server. And so I just changed this config. We'll come back and deal with that, but basically I just want to say, yeah, just allow people to do things when they haven't confirmed their email address, just because we don't care about that right now. So let's server's restarted. Let's jump back to our browser, restart this, and we can just have an example. And pop in a password and another one. Okay, so organization must exist. Organization can't be blank. Oh, okay, so we have to do this during the, okay, right. So we have to do this during the setup now, okay. So hopefully this then, so if we do test for CP. Oh yeah, this actually now does stuff, doesn't it? So we want our real YouTube channel. Again, I'm just going to YouTube We could probably start grabbing some IDs that aren't the Sunday Club channel ID. That'd be pretty cool. But I'm not going to worry about that for now. I haven't got my background rake task running, so this shouldn't do anything. And then we can just grab out that sign up. Cool. Okay, so we have site 12. And so if we go back to our roots, we had control panels /channel/ID. No, I don't know what the ID of that channel is, so we'll have to look all this stuff up. So this is the part of development where you can help yourself out by putting stuff in your UI before trying to use it, because it would be handier if you could see some of this stuff without having to jump into the console. But we'll figure it out. So our site is site.find. And just like, I do comment on this every once in a while, but like this stream is not representative of how you would go about building anything. Like you would normally have planned out what you were going to do and have designs and all that stuff. This stream is not me working. It's just streaming, which is a bit different. So we have channel ID 11 belongs to our site. So hopefully the organization stuff has been sorted out. So we can actually grab this out, for example. Grab that. And then I think 11 should work. Okay, it doesn't. And is that working? So if we go to record.site, so chat.first.organization. Oh, it's site.organization. It's test org, and that's ID 12. And then user.last.organization is also 12. Okay, so why are we not getting there? Those two should match. I've just checked that the channels organization for the site is ID 12 and the users organization is ID 12. So when we get to that controller, which is here, we are trying to find that channel. And then that's not, so let's just check. I'm just going to chuck some stuff in the server just to see if we get there. And then I'm going to copy the URL again so I don't have to keep doing this. Channels 11, so this is where we want to go. And do we get to control panel channels controller show? Control panel channels controller show. Why are we not seeing that? Are we doing... Okay, so before action, we're doing authenticate user, but I thought I was signed in. You need to sign up or log in before continuing. Was I not signed in? Oh, do I create an account and then not sign into it? That's more than possible. Okay, great. So sorry, that's actually something we need to go and fix, because at the end of the site setup in the users controller, remember we have those three, we have the homepage, and then we have the details controller, then we have the users controller. Here we are creating the user's account. We don't actually sign them in. So need to do that. We'll come back for that. I think device gives us a helper. I think we can just do sign in user. Or maybe we send them. No, I think we can just sign them in, I guess. If they can't do anything until they confirm their email address anyway, it won't make too much difference. Okay, so now we can get rid of this. I hope that makes sense what just happened there. But this is our view. So this is control panel channels 11, and we've just got our suspend button from when we were playing around with having example functionality in here. So that's great. And what we want to do is let's take this Hotwire stuff at its word and say that we want to do it as if we weren't going to use anything at all. Let's have a list of videos. Let's do kind of the simple kind of CRUD way where we would have a channel which show a list of videos. The video we could then click on show, edit, delete, maybe something like that, and kind of let's kind of do the basics, and then let's work out what the hell Hotwire is and how we can do that in a like where we don't have to go and visit those pages around some of those things, because I don't want to jump into doing Hotwire stuff before we've got our ducks in a row, basically. So let's, within control panel, have let's list the videos on the channel's show view rather than, oh, do we go even further than that and actually have, you don't see anything there and have to click videos? No, that's probably too far, because that would then have videos index, video show, videos edit. But I think we can kind of take the index out and just use the channel for that. So let's do that. So in our view, it's control panel, channel show. Remember, we're always working at two different levels now because we now have channel show and control panel channel show. Control panel is just an example. It might be admin or something like that. And in here, can we just make that button a bit smaller? Oh, we added a little extra helper class for button, didn't we? So that can just be button. All the buttons are red. Okay, cool. And fine, that can all just stay. We don't really care about any of that stuff. But what we did also have was we already had this code here, which we can lift because we've already got channel. And this checks to see if there are any videos here. So let's see if we've got any videos. There are no videos for this channel yet. Great. Because we haven't gone and run that import task to go and get them. So we probably don't. In general, we might not want to load this association in the view here. We might want to make that more explicit that that's happening in the controller. So we might want to say, just so that our controller is kind of doing all of our loading work and our view is just rendering stuff. So in here, oops, in this one, that's our control panel channels view. We've got set channel. But in here, we could also say have videos, and then that is channel.videos. And what we can do there is pagination. I'm not going to bother with that for now, but that would then mean our query, rather than going to get all of the videos, will only bring back some. So that gives us some control of them at the controller level before we start making demands on that in the view. So we can swap out channel.videos for videos. And again, that should still work. We should still have there are no videos because we haven't got to get them yet. Great, and then that's set here. So this thing that's being shown here, we can now make a partial for. So because we want that to show here, but I think that's the thing we're going to swap out. So let's make a partial for that. So we're going to have views, control panel channels, but we're going to add a new folder called new control panel videos. And then this can have a partial in it. So it's got an underscore, you can get the right character, called video. Just using ERB for these. And so we can then lift all of this stuff out, chuck that in here. So kind of working with smaller chunks of HTML. And then now I think if we did render video, I don't know if it will, well, this won't work anyway because we're not in that branch of the conditional logic, so we won't actually try and render them. But render video I think would work if we had one in our views, videos, video partial. But because we're in control panel, I think we might have to pass that a string. to specify. I don't know if it goes... I don't know if Rails checks everything at that level and then goes down a level and checks again. But I know it does a bunch of stuff to try and help you out. Good morning, Pedro. How's it going? Welcome to Sunday. Pedro, we're looking at... you can do just render video. Yeah, of course, we can do just render videos. I'm going to keep the loop here for a second because we're diving into... Hotwire stuff in a bit, and I want to be really explicit about what's happening in those. So I'm going to try and leave everything because I think I'm going to try and wrap some frames. From what I've watched. I think that's how this might work. So I'm going to leave my code as verbose as possible at the moment. So I'm actually just going to check. I'm not sure if that will go and find that partial because it's at this level, but I think it will. But we can come back to that in a second. So can we run our background job to go and populate this thing? Can we just do that manually? I suppose as long as this one works every time, we can. Oh no, I forgot it. Is it jobs work? Oh no, I forget it every time. Is it jobs work? Oh no, I forgot to do my YouTube API key thing again. Bear with me, I'm just on the other screen. There are channels that did get populated last week, but this should be pretty quick. I did this last time and the key refresh was almost immediate. Google Developer API Console. I'm just doing it on the other screen, so bear with me. And I'm just going to reset that key and chuck it back in, and that lives in here. So we can have some credentials. Bear with me. Yep, in here and go edit. And like this Google thing has been pretty good so far. Like in the stream where we set this up, it can be a bit complex, but they're definitely improving it. So let's just swap that out. Again, I destroy these afterwards, so feel free to go nuts if you want to lift them. You'll need to have it done by... right. Let's defer all of that complexity. I'm coming to that. I haven't looked at any of that stuff. I've watched like half of 2 tutorials. So let's get where we're going first. Pedro, you're scaring me. You're scaring me with things I haven't bumped into yet. So I then need to rerun my jobs work thing because I've added the API key. Okay. I could do this just working because I don't really care about it now. I just want some videos. So Justin's asking, shouldn't the API key be stored in environment variable? Yes, definitely. That is one of the reasons why after every stream I have to go kill that API key because I put it on the stream every week. Yes, definitely. It is not done here because I am not organized enough during the week to tidy up after myself. But yep, that is 100% correct. So again, that goes back to this point of this not being a tutorial and the way I approach this repo not being like hugely methodical or make much sense, but hopefully people can get snatches of value out of the videos. They kind of get the gist. Okay, great. So we have got the job that has run. So does our channel now have videos in it? It does. Great. It has only... it's got this video. So if we get time, Hotwire. So that's... We're gonna build the editing thing, and if we get time, we're gonna look in Hotwire. So we've only got one. We've only got one video. Did anyone get imported? Because we've got loads more videos than that. Or did we change the import job in some way? Oh, we just got moved to that service object last time. I'm just always really aware that anyone who watches these asynchronous and comes to these streams would see me each week and they would experience it like you'd experience a Netflix show where you're just jumping between the bits that you care about. Well, not with Netflix, but like this. For me, a week goes past or 2 or 3. I have no memory of these. Okay, so videos each next to So that was us trying to skip it for happens before. It should be saving more than one. Is the query not? Okay. Oh, come on, every time. So let's just check in the console that is actually right. So it's channel 11, I think. Let me just check I've got the right channel. Yep, channel 11. How many did we actually import? 1. Okay. Let's just do this really quickly. Sorry, I'm just going to jump around really quickly just to try and debug this. I don't want to spend an age on it. One video is actually all we need, so I'm not too fussed. Let's just call this @channel so we can copy and paste the code over. Create a new thing, a new instance of the YouTube gem. Okay, I'm just going to keep doing this so we can copy and paste the code over. So that and that, I'm just copying this over, and then YouTube channel.videos.count is implemented. 21. Okay, so it should have looped over 21 times. Is this next wrong? So next if video or external YouTube video. So don't import if one already exists. Amazing, caught a bug. So this looks if any video exists on the system where this has been imported. So we have, that's okay. So it should be only if this channel has that video already, not if we have the video already, because multiple people might import the same thing. So this should actually be channel. Wait, what should it be? Or we could just do does a video have a channel? Yeah. I think that would work. Can we then rerun this? So hopefully that makes sense what was happening there. So we have already imported this channel, these videos, the YouTube channel videos, into other Sunday Club channels. And so when this was designed to prevent us from looping over from importing the same one twice, that was part of our talk about resiliency for the background job. We actually only care about this channel not having the same video twice, not the system not having the same video twice. So that's why that query was wrong. So then hopefully I can just run this again from here, and it needs channel, and I think we did with .call. Amazing. So now if we go all the way back through my history, channel.findervideos.count, 21. Amazing. So now when we go into here, loads of videos, all using our partial. So this is in control panel channels show. So we were originally seeing this, which was the UI we were showing if the video is empty. Now we're onto this branch of the conditional, and so we are showing at videos.each. So for each of the videos for this channel, remember we moved that at videos up into the controller. If we wanted to paginate or something like that, we could do that at that level. We're looping over them with a video, and for each one we're rendering video. Now Rails is doing, as Pedro said it would, what it is fancy at doing, which is checking at this level, which is our control panel level, to see if there is a video partial. And if there wasn't one, I think what it would then do from memory is drop down and look for videos at the root level. And I think it would just cascade all the way down. But again, play with that to see. And you can shoot yourself in the foot there. So if you didn't mean for it to be the control panel one, but you left one there, I think you left one in the root level, it would still work. It calls two partial paths on the model, so you can diddle with that. Diddle is a technical term. So Pedro in the chats, but more specifically, it calls two partial path on the model. Does it then not, when you then call that and it gets two partial path on the model, so does it do that as part of that process, or is that the only thing it does? So calling two partial path, how does it then start? Let's not worry about that. That's Rails being, we can just like, I have no time to like, come on, super useful. Thank you, Pedro. But I'm just, it keep piquing my curiosity, but that works great. So let's keep going. So we've got these videos, right? We want to edit them now. So remember what we're doing is we're building an edit view, and we're building it in the same way that we would normally, so that then, as per the Hotwire video that I watched, we can then add magic-y stuff to it and make it interactive. So what we're going to do is add our edit experience in. And remember, going back to where we originally started planning, what we're talking about is the edit version on our side, the app side, not the edit version on the YouTube side, which we will then want to have different versions of. So let's go and do that. So we're still working at this level now. So we've got our view. Let's chuck in our, do we have one? We don't. We can have a videos controller within our control panel, so we can do stuff there. Okay, so let's be a bit more diligent than I was last week, because that I got. Thank you to everyone who stuck around at the end of last week, because things got a bit crazy here. My family started showing up and things like that, and it got very scrappy towards the end, so I did tied it up a little bit. But I think we will be diligent and do our tests, which I think I was skipping at the end of last week. So in here, we are going to have a videos controller. And this is going to be, can I just lift this? Yeah. This is going to be the videos control. Always do that. Video controller. And let's give ourselves an edit action for now. And so we're going to need a video in order to be able to see it. And so we'll just use a factory for that. Pretty sure we have a bunch of these done by now. Memory, so we're going to give ourselves that. And we'll just say, again, we'll just carry on with this pattern of to say that a page exists, we'll just get a success response back. So yeah, we don't need to namespace it because we're there already. And we then have, no, I think it's just ID. And we have video ID. And we can probably just lift this from another one quickly. Yeah, we just, yeah, okay, so we want to sign in there. Excellent, we're doing it twice there, amazing. So we can do the same thing here. Actually, we can lift both of those. You can, don't get distracted, Max. You don't have to do these like this, but we'll do it for now. If you're in test, you find yourself doing lots of similar setup at the same time, there are ways to get around that. So if you're interested, remind me in another stream and we can delve into that a little bit more when we're not trying to get something done. Okay, so we I don't have that machine. So that should at least right, that can, right, come on. So we're just doing the basics here. We're just getting ourselves something up to tell us that we return something back, but we don't have a controller there. We don't have anything. So I'm just running through this real quick because this isn't the interesting part of what we're trying to accomplish, really. So this is, if you are jumping to this video because it has the word Hotwire in it, which I would imagine a bunch of people do, even if you are still learning a bunch of stuff. Videos controller. Yes, sorry. Sorry, I totally lost what I was saying there. So just trying to get through this as quick as possible. So private set Did we do any kind of like scoping on this? No, fuck it. Like, yeah, if you're approaching as a learner, that due to the stream, we're just kind of moving pretty quickly through this stuff. I think that would still be ID, yeah, because it's not within anything else. No, I think it would still be ID. And we can skip the auth for now. Like, I don't think we turned that option on in Pundit where you have to check the auth, which you should do. So because we're in a controller, have a great Sunday, Pedro. Have a lovely day. So in the controller actions here, we're saying authorize these normally. And that is so that you only allow the users that are allowed to see them there. I want to keep moving with this, so I'll try and come back and add that later. What you can do, if you go back and watch those streams, we used Pundit for the permissions there. And we had basically permission. There's an option in that gem that says, like, make sure every action has this authorized, or explicitly opts out of it. And you probably want something like that on. You want a failsafe to make sure you're doing authorization. I haven't got that on. I'm just going to skip this for now, just to get us up and running so that we can demo stuff more easily. But you probably want it on. Again, that's something where if you're watching this as a learner, you are probably seeing me skip lots of stuff that you should be doing. Okay, so we updated that test but didn't add in the user. I think we can just add one in. Oh, does it need to be? Oh, is there loads of setup for that spec? Yes. Okay, so I really regret adding all that complexity really early. I did it deliberately so that we would have to bump into it, and now we keep bumping into it. So we need a site because we need to check it. We need the user, and we would also need the again, this is for all the auth. So I think we would actually get away with this in the test, but it would fail when we then added in the, I think that will actually work because we haven't added the auth in. But then when we add the auth, we authorize whether the user can access that. Is that not? Because I've called it video. We authorize whether a user can access that video or that channel via the organization. Oh, so we don't have a video factory. Okay. And just lift this out. So I'm just setting up a factory, just trying to keep these tests moving. I think we're going to lose a bunch of time today just to some mechanics stuff, but that's okay. We've kind of set out what we're going to accomplish on the next few. Whatever description. I think it was title and description. If it's not, RSpec will complain at me. Channel must exist. Okay, so you do have to do the setup that we were just looking at. So it can go. Oh no, wait, was that actually in the factory that the video must have? Factories, videos. No, sorry, model video belongs to channel. Doesn't validate that channel. Now I tend to only put things that we validate in the in there. So let's just do the setup in the test instead. So we had this, and then the one above it did stuff I think we need. Let's keep that one because it's confirmed. So that's our user, that's our site and our channel, and then the video can have that channel. So I'm not sure we need all of that, but I'm just trying to move pretty quickly. So you would need to be more diligent on what you're checking for there. Great. So now we don't have our root. I want to go and add that. So in here, resources, videos, and we're only adding edit. And we're okay with it being called video. So we should now have a root. So we should get a different failure. Yep, and we don't have a corresponding template, so we need to go and build that. And again, we're still up in our control panel area, and we want our html.erb, which gives us this. So we can say editing video, and then we can say the ID of it, for example. And then we can pop our form there. So let's just check our test passes just to say that we can get some sort of response back from that controller action. Yep, we can. Great, okay. And what that means is we can add a link to it. So again, if we go back to our roots, we now have videos in our control panel. So we have edit control panel video path. And we can go back to our... I've got loads of stuff open. Just closing stuff as we go. Don't need any of this stuff really. So in our control panel channels view, we're listing out our videos here, and render video calls this partial. And so what we can do down here is add our edit button. And that can just be link to edit, and then the path. And then because we've only got one helper, we can just use that helper. So we get a big bright red button on every one. So hopefully now, we refresh this. Yep, we've got, look at this. Look at this design. It's gorgeous. Okay, so for each video, we're rendering out that partial. We now have an edit. That should take us through to a view that works. We're not authorizing it, but we know that auth would pass if we wanted it to, because we are a user that belongs to the same organization as the site, which then has the channel, which then has the video. So cascading all the way down. We've added loads of complexity there, which will undoubtedly come back and shoot us in the foot. But we're editing our video. Right, what do we want to edit? We want to edit the video title and description. So let's add in ourselves a form to do that. And let's also, again, still be diligent and give ourselves a... we can probably lift all of that up, I would guess. So we can reuse it. That can go back one. So then here we want to give ourselves a context update. And that can go before all of them. Again, not great testing here because that's going to sign you in. So you would want to test what happens if a user's not signed in, etc., etc. But I'm just, again, being super sloppy just to get us through the test. So here, we can add another context, which is with like valid params. Like we're not testing any error handling or anything at this stage. We're just going to say, right, if we want to update this video and we give it everything it needs, can we do that? So we then want to give it the params that we want to tell it to change. And that would be title. We could just say updated title, and the description again can just be updated description so that we can check for those afterwards. And it should yeah, did I carry on with the should thing? Yeah, I've put should in a bunch of these. Some people put them in and some people don't. So I just try and look at what the current repo does and carry on. So it should update the video. And then this is going to be a patch update params, valid params. And that will not be that. It will params video valid params. Yep, and we can then just do video.reload because we're just using factories and stuff. So then we can just say expect video dot title. I just want to check really quickly that these are updated. That's all we really care about here. Just gonna hard code these changes in here. That's description there. Okay, great. So these should all fail. We haven't done any of that work. Again, not hugely TDD. We are missed typo there. Yeah, just kind of running ahead of myself a little bit. Just aware of the time. Okay. Great, so again, we've got our root missing. So now we can say we want only edit and update. That is params are missing the ID. So, well, I skipped over that, but if you look at what's happening here in that error, you can see that it's got video and then it's got the params, but it's saying no root matches. You wouldn't expect to see those in there because the param that we're matching for the root is the ID. So that obviously means we're missing that. So it should be like this. Yeah, I think that's the format of that. I think memory's not great. Great. Okay, so we've got different areas. So we now need our update action. So we can come back to wherever our controller is. That's the spec. Oh, we don't have it open. But it's further up here, so we can say videos controller. Going to add in our update action. So here, I'm trying to jump in my mind. I'm trying to jump ahead to some of those Hotwire things that I saw. I think we can just do this for now. Will that still give us our, rather than assign and then save? I think it will because we're not doing anything. And then we can do to where are we sending them back to? We're sending them back to the channels path, aren't we? Because we don't actually have a video show view, so let's send them back there with video.channel at video.channel. And we can, well, yeah, we said we would do updated video successfully. I said we would do what we would normally do and then try and add Hotwire on top. So let's do that. So then we could do render edit. Haven't added then video params. Again, loads of just mechanics of stuff that we're just setting up here just to get ourselves in the situation where we can start to layer fancy stuff on top of this. So our params, we require a video, but the ones that we're going to allow through are the title and description. Great. And I think that might get us somewhere near there. Okay, that worked. Cool. So it seems to be updating something, and we need a form to do that for us. So We actually have an example of this somewhere. Yes, we did form with channel. So it's form with, and you just actually we can just lift this whole thing, I think. But it's the video and its field name, title, description, and update video, I think will work. And again, now we've got our one amazing helper that should work. So let's go back to our app, refresh this. That is not, we haven't actually imported. So there we can do render form. Fingers nearly hit any of the right keys there. So we can just do render form. Okay, so is that this? No, okay. The asset, I think that's for videos. Videos control by videos form. So do we have at video set? So set videos, video so that should be there. In here, in edit. And so in, does these still work? So I'm just looking for the error as to why. So if we go back to our channel, channel's 11, that works, right? And then we can get to description, update video. Okay, I'm definitely in one of those scenarios where I'm definitely missing something obvious. And we do have, do have the video there. Just increase the font size of that so it's a bit more readable. So you get the little console down here where you can check what you've got. Asset blank is not present in the asset pipeline. I don't know what that means. That's actually a really stupid thing to search because that's gonna... Can you escape these in Google? No. Okay, so these are generic asset pipeline. Why do we need... Does that work when you edit the channel? So I'm just checking to see if this form code that I've copied actually works in the first place. So if we do control panel, channels, 12 edit. Does that know what it was? Where did that edit code get used, or did it not? Have I copied a bad example? It looks pretty straightforward though. Like it's just a form with, I think this is the new syntax for that. Like I said, like people were asking about simple form previously. I don't know why we'd get an asset pipeline error at that stage anyway. Obviously missing something. Form with Rails. Worm with. Just close enough. Here we go. Okay, this doesn't rely on form with at all, so. Yeah, Yeah, I think I'm screwing up. I'm just going to look up the syntax for that form with because I think it's probably wrong. So let's do that as well. Okay, so form with URL. Does it not? Right, so form with model, do we actually need to give it the URL? Because we are not. So form with URL, form with model info to the URL and scope. Okay, so is that the incorrect URL? So if we actually do both, can we do that? Yes, scope post URL method. Okay, why don't we just do URL? And it is, I'm just working on a hunch here, so I'm not 100% sure I'm doing the right thing. Videos, edit, refresh this because we should now have this. And I think, oh, wait, I'm doing the wrong one. Okay, so that's channels. We don't really care about that one. Let's close this one. So the one I care about is video. I think it will infer that video is video. So let's see, does that render? Oops. Yes, okay, great. Okay, so I think what's happening there is, oh my God, the asset pipeline error. So we basically told it, we told the form to use this model and it tried to infer the URL, but from that it would get edit video path or the update action for video path. So what can we still do? I think you used to be able to pass in, this is a stretched memory. You used to be able to pass in symbols as an array. Right, okay, so it's basically trying to infer the URL from the thing that from the model that you pass it. And you can actually pass the URL explicitly because remember, we're within the control panel namespace. So we don't want it to drop all the way down to try and access the videos controller because we're in control panel videos controller. So that's the change there. So when you are in different places, Rails needs to know that, or at different levels or different namespaces, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so that now works. So hopefully we could then say test. Oh, we can just prepend it, I guess. So test at the start, 1, 2, 3. Update video. You are not authorized to perform this action. You are not authorized, but we didn't add any authorization to this controller. Okay, let's check the server logs and see where we're getting kicked out there. Channels controller show. So we're looking at the channel policy because we're back in the channels controller. So now we're here and we're getting kicked out, but I'm still the same user. Did I sign out or screw up accidentally? So channels 11. Okay. Then we're going to edit this one. Test 1, 2, 3. Oh, it did save. Okay, so we do have our update. Test 1, 2, 3 is the text we entered before. Let's add in another test. Okay, so there's obviously something failing in our redirect here. Redirect to control panel, channel path, video.channel. All the way back down here. So that's our change. So that's our AAA is the text I entered. That's being updated here. Great. That's our redirect taking us to channels 5, taking us to the wrong place. Okay. Why am I seeing channel 5? That's not great. What video was I editing? Okay, so video ID is... That's not right, is it? That's not right. So we're trying to update the wrong video. I think I've rushed over something here pretty quickly. Oh no, okay, so just for time, I don't want to spend a million more hours on this. Oh, we've got the wrong video ID here. That's not ID. So channels 11. And as I come and edit these, that's videos 11. Ah, we're passing the wrong fucking ID to the thing. Right, okay, so again, another example of video path, and then that would be video. Sorry, I missed 79. Right, okay, great. So now we can do that in here. So here we could fix this. Here, update video. Great. Does that now change the order of these? Yeah, okay. So let's make sure we now, because we moved that up to the controller, we know that we can order these by updated at descending. Yep, so then we can change that again. Test, we can take the word test out, update the video, and that then works. Now remember, this is, so we did as we go back to our Jamboard, we grabbed our videos over, and now we are making edits here on this side. So as I've made those changes to the title of that video, that's now, we now have a change between video 1 on the YouTube side and video 1 on the app side. And if we were to do the re-import, if we would just run that script again and not check for any values, we would overwrite any changes on our side. So we could go into the app and write a much better description. So get rid of that and get rid of that. So in here, we could say this is a better description. Great. And the video, if we ran the import from YouTube again, and didn't check for that change, we'd overwrite it. So we would lose our better description. We would have a worse description. So versioning is kind of where I want to get to. Now we could, might start to wrap this up today because we're at an hour and a half. So I don't really want to go too long. That does kind of get us like 1 of 3. So what we wanted to do is look at our versioning, build our basic editing process, get our versioning in place, and then look to swap out our editing with Hotwire and make sure that our versioning applies, and then give the user a way to choose between the versions, and have the webhooks come back from YouTube to create new versions locally. Yeah, okay. So is there anything we just want to wrap up here? So we're doing all this locally. Yeah, let's start to plan the Hotwire implementation then. So this, I think, can be our basic idea where if we click edit here, I think because we now have this partial of the form, I think we can, I think the easiest version is to do a kind of tutorial simplified version, is basically having this edit button, swap out this thing here for the form, then when you click save, returning us back here. So you don't need to leave your list of videos to update the local version of the title and description. And then obviously that works really well for simple edits. And then if there's a bunch of config options in here we wanted to change, that could have like edit over here or something, like over on the right hand side to edit the title and description. So that follows pretty closely the tutorials that I've half watched for Hotwire. So I think that's pretty doable, but I don't really want to get into installing that. So we can pick up there. Do I want to touch more on the versioning stuff this week? No, I think an hour and a half is good. So I'm sorry that today was more mechanical. So it was planning and then mechanics and prepping and getting us set up. But that's the way it goes. Sometimes you've got to get things in line and then get ready to do the next week. So if you are watching this and you're annoyed, then we didn't get to it. So things I would recommend if you're interested in keep following along, check out some Hotwire tutorials. So Hotwire is... and this is just a PostScript Hotwire Rails. So I don't know if there's a link to the nice site on here. Yep. So basically it is the new name for Turbo, which used to be Turbo Links, Stimulus, which is a JavaScript frameworky sort of thing, as I understand it. And we've touched on React and some of those other things. Did we put Stimulus in here in the end out of interest? I don't think we did. I think we just put Tailwind in. So we have got Webpack and Webpacker, and we just haven't done anything with them. Okay, so we haven't done Stimulus yet, so we can bump into all of that stuff. And then something else that I don't quite know yet, Strato. I haven't really Premiere in 2021 yet. Haven't looked at that stuff. So the stuff that we'll look at next week, I think, will be around this side of things. The idea of the kind of frames that this provides us. And then I haven't really done a lot of Stimulus, but I'm interested in that as well. So what we'll do is we'll swap out this editing experience here with that. So that brings us to it. So thanks again to anyone who's commented or said hello. Again, if you are interested in looking at anything more specific, there's a discussions tab on the Sunday Club repo. There's links and things that I will add to the video descriptions. Those usually end up on YouTube rather than Twitch or anywhere else. So just Google Sunday Club YouTube and you'll find our channel. Thank you so much to everyone who has been in touch. It's super useful. Like I said at the start, we've got the LRUG talk about this channel that's coming in March. So that's a little way away. I will mention that again beforehand. The work in progress branch is up on GitHub in the Sunday Club repo. Again, I'll put a link to it in this video description, but you can find it there as well. And more stuff coming, and then Hotwire next week. So have a great week, everyone. I hope you are having a great new year. It's been a real week this week, but I will, if I don't get a chance to do a homework edition, I will see you next week. Have a great day.